Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. Daily Compliance News for December 2, 2022, the huge management failure edition. And we begin with that story from the New York Times as DealBook reporter Andrew Ross Sorkin interviewed Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, yesterday virtually at the DealBook, New York Times DealBook conference. It was a really interesting / bizarre interview, and SBF said that there had been huge management failures at FTX and Alameda. He claimed that he screwed up as he was the CEO and that he had not intentionally committed fraud and was unaware of commingling of funds. So it was really interesting. I've linked to it. You really should watch the entire interview. Over at the Financial Times, Brooke Masters, corporate governance columnist, asked, does anyone do due diligence anymore? And it's certainly an appropriate question when you think about those who invested in SBF over the and FTX, I should say, over the past year, going back now to Theranos and their investors who failed to engage in any due diligence as well. So where are the sophisticated investors on their due diligence? A great question. Over at the Wall Street Journal, Risk and Compliance Journal, Dylan Tokar tells us about a speech yesterday by Glenn Leon at the ACI National FCPA conference, where he said that there are more FCPA enforcement actions in the pipeline. He expects a couple of more in 2022, and that enforcement will remain robust. He also had some pretty chilling words about CCO certification, which is it's here to stay and that there shouldn't be any pushback for it. And frankly, it should be an easy ask. I guess they haven't asked any CCOs about that. And our final story comes to us once again from Aljazeera, who reports that South Africa's President Ramaphosa faces impeachment threat over a farm scandal. This farm scandal is quite odd because it started with a robbery netting $4 million from his farm, leading many to question, what's he doing with $4 million in cash at his farm? He has refused to adequately answer this, and now some in the ANC are even calling for impeachment, if not for Ramaphosa to step down going forward. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.